Hey guys, Modern Housewife here again, and today we are going to show you how to make vegetable fries. We're doing it with sweet potatoes because they happen to be on sale, but this works with turnips, regular potatoes, carrots, any sort of root starchy vegetable. Now I've already peeled these and you see these little black spots on there. This is just where some of the starch came to the surface and oxidized when it hit the air. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide kind of what size I want these to be. I want them fairly normal French fry size. So I'm just going to start cutting these up. And you can make them any size that you want. Just be aware that on the other end when you go to bake them, if you make them thicker, they're going to take a little bit longer. And if they're thinner, they might take a little bit less time. I'm just going to go ahead and finish chopping these up. And there you have it. Okay, step 2, and I want to give a shout out here to my videographer, Mr. O. Say hi.
Hi.
He reminded me that we probably should have put the water on to boil before we started cutting the veggies, but it took a little while. So this is the next step called blanching. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to quick boil our pre-cut veggies for about 2 minutes, and then you're going to dunk them in a bowl of ice water to keep them from cooking too much. So I'm going to add some salt to this. We got our water boiling, so I'm gonna add some salt, which just gives it flavor and makes it a little more like you would get from a fast food restaurant or something like that for the kiddos. And you could leave this out if you're salt intolerant, you don't want a lot of sodium, just don't worry about it, don't do it. So blanching takes a lot of the starch and everything out, and this is what gives the vegetables the kind of crispy outside and the fluffy on the inside. Helps that. So we're going to go ahead and start adding these. And as I'm doing that, I want to take a minute and go, okay, there's probably a lot of people out there going, why in the world would I want to make my own French fries when I could just, pop down the street to my local fast food and get them there and not have to go through all this work? Well, we happen to have in our family one of our kiddos that is on a restricted diet, and a lot of the things that they put in French fries and other things at fast food he can't eat, in particular MSG. And so this just allows you to control the ingredients, number one. And number two, it's a lot cheaper than, let me turn my timer on. It's a lot cheaper than buying the frozen fries from the store. And number three is you can mix it up. You can choose your own spices. Maybe one day you want to have Cajun fries, and the next day you want to have some sweet potato fries with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on them. And it just gives you the opportunity to, match your mood and the other food that you're eating. So we're going to go ahead and let these cook for a total of 2 minutes. And while they're doing that, I'm going to have a bowl of ice water here and ready. But when they're done, we're just gonna take them right out of the pot and put them into the ice water. And that is the last one. So here we're all laid out just on a cookie sheet on top of a dish towel, and when we're done drying, I will go ahead and just throw this towel right into the wash because it's gonna get all starchy and whatnot from the water of potatoes. Okay, on to seasoning. We've dried these, and you want them pretty much dry so that you don't get ice crystals on them when you go and freeze them. At this point, you could just go ahead and freeze them plain like this. I'm going to season them a little bit, and I'm going to add just about 1.5 tablespoons of garlic olive oil. Because I'm going to bake these, I add a little bit of olive oil on them so that when they bake, they kind of get that crispy outside, and the oil helps with that. And we're going to stir that up. And I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. You want to keep it fairly simple so that the flavor, especially in this case, of the sweet potatoes can come through. And when you're salting, you want to do a little bit at a time and stir, and then just do a little bit of more and stir again, and that way it gets fairly evenly distributed. I like to go in about thirds. We're going to do one more little turn of the grinder. And then the other thing that I'm going to add is just a smidge, about a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on. I'm going to do the same thing with the salt that I did with the salt, and do it by thirds again so it's evenly distributed. You don't get a lot of pockets of spiciness in there. And I'm looking at this. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on, I'll put it up. I don't know how much detail you can see, but that kind of looks like it might be enough. Maybe one more pinch, because I don't want them too spicy, or there's some people in my family that won't eat them. So once we're done with that, all we're going to do is take this bowl, spread them out onto our baking sheet, and then we are going to pop them in the freezer. I'd also like to note that you could go ahead and bake them at this point, or fry them, and they come out just as well. Because it's late and we already had dinner, we're going to go ahead and freeze them. But you bake them at, if you're a regular oven 425, convection oven 400, probably for about 10 to 15 minutes for this size of potato. And fry, you would get your oil up to about an inch of oil on the bottom of a frying pan, a cast iron pan, and fry them at 350 until they crisp up and the edges start turning just a bit brown. That's it. We're going to go ahead and pop this in the freezer, and that'll be it for the night.